Welcome to the Stuff and Thangs podcast, your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
Hello everybody and welcome to a new episode of the Stuff and Thangs podcast. I am Sam. Joining me for today's chat, and every week he joins me, it's Stefan.
Good morning, afternoon, evening and night. How we doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I always think to myself about that sort of like the introduction. And joining me this week, it sounds like it changes.
No, always me.
No,
sorry guys,
it's
always
you.
me.
So joining me this week because his contract says he has to.
It's basically, it's like when you go to work or something. It's like, hi, you're speaking to because I'm paid to be here.
Yeah, I am here to serve you today because they made me and I need the money. Yeah. So today's show, everyone will know we've been doing, so it's a new show, it's every Friday, and we're sort of picking out these topics, and we came up with a load of different ideas, and what I've been doing is kind of like, okay, at random, and I'll pick that one, and then that's been what the Friday show's been. Now, this one, which is sort of, that's how I got the order anyway. This one is going to be a bit unusual because I think I'm going to have to explain the concept just in case people are listening who never heard of this concept before because they're not a fan of Marvel and Marvel's Cinematic Universe. So, Marvel came up with an idea on Disney Plus. It was an animated show, and the idea was brilliant, by the way. The execution I'm still not so sure about, but the idea was, the show was titled What If, and the idea was these kind of butterfly effect or sliding doors moments where, okay, what if this character in this moment didn't make this decision? What if they went the opposite way? You know, so it was like this one moment, and how much would that change things?
Yeah, and Tony Stark gets captured, he comes back, decides no more selling arms, he needs one suit to protect the world.
Yeah.
Actually, he comes back and he doubles down and goes, no, more weapons.
Yeah, he goes full US, full on. What solves the gun problem? More guns! Yay! So that's the idea. The idea is that it's a simple premise, and what we've decided to do on this is to try and create a conversation, hopefully it's going to be fun, around various famous franchises where we're going to look at, okay, so what if this one thing changed? Would that have made a massive difference, etc., etc.? So that's the idea for the show. I'd like very much for anybody listening to come up with your own ideas. If we don't cover them, drop us a message, let us know what you thought. Oh, okay, what about if we did this film and this changed, etc., etc. That'd be fun. You can always get in touch with us via all the socials. You can get in touch and have a conversation with us via our Discord. You can also email the show directly, sam@stuffandthangspodcast.com. Whew, that's the admin done. Check that out. So, we're going to answer the question across various different things, and that question is...
What if?
What he said.
Yeah.
It's a weird one, because it's like a concept that worked really well with Marvel, in as much as the concept.
Yep.
But I felt they really lost that by creating a storyline and a narrative in the show which then became episodic in nature, whereas I was expecting and hoping for like 30-minute or 20 to 30 minute short stories of all these little individual things, like, oh, if this was different, this is what would have happened. Okay, that's great, yeah, that's fun. But then it not linked.
The concept had me so excited. Like, even like one of the episodes, it kind of said, what happens if Steve Rogers couldn't take the serum?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, then Penny Carter takes the serum and we see what happens with that. And I'm like, okay.
Who took the serum?
Peggy.
Yeah, you said Penny.
Did I say Penny? Sorry. Peggy got. Oh man, it's gonna be one of those days.
I'd have let it go, but I decided to allow you to correct it just to avoid the avalanche of abuse.
I know. I've been up very early this morning. Anyway, Carter was going to take it. We get the whole Agent Carter stuff, and I was like, that would be really cool for one episode.
Fun. Yeah.
And then the next one could be, the Black Panther. What happens if he lost that fight? And we get a different Black Panther. He can go. And this is when I thought it was going to go, and I'm like, this is really quite cool.
Yeah, I agree.
But then, unfortunately, we kind of ended up with this weird episodic the Agent Carter show, basically, is what it turned into.
In essence, yeah.
I wasn't so fond on that.
No, and I'm sure people enjoyed it, and that's fine. But for me, it wasn't the concept I was sold on, so I was a bit disappointed. So, taking the concept that we were sold on, we're going to start with Marvel, simply because that was where this originated, this idea. If you, for example, looking at the entirety of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, probably the earlier phases is easier for us to do this on, probably what more people have seen.
Yeah.
Can you think of a scenario, like a what-if scenario, you would have loved to have seen?
I would have loved a what if Loki and Thor had swapped.
How do you mean swapped?
So, Loki, the character we know,
yeah,
but kind of with the God of Thunder, and just like seeing characters swap. So that was just two that came to mind, but seeing characters kind of swap their roles a little bit.
Okay.
Like, can you imagine Loki with his kind of all self-love wanting power as with Thor's ability instead? Like, as the favourite child sort of thing.
Yeah.
Could have been interesting. There's always ones like the Spider-Man ones, I always come back to those. Like, what would have happened if one of the other guys had been bitten by the spider?
Okay.
You've got the Agent Carter instead of Captain America. As I say, that was always one that I quite liked the idea of.
Yeah.
I just don't think it got executed as well as I hoped it would.
Yeah.
What about yourself? Go on, give me a few.
I mean, there's a few. See, I always tend to sort of go towards what would amuse me, like what would have been funny.
Yeah.
And in the actual show, they did do a T'Challa spoke to Thanos and got him to change his galactic view, so he no longer saw that actually, I don't have to kill billions and trillions of people. I can just click my fingers and quadruple all the resources, and then we're all good. That always made me laugh. Like the concept that you had this villain with a very clear reason why he was doing it, but what if he actually changed his mind? So that was always kind of fun.
Which I've always loved, because for me that's always been one of those kind of, well, yeah, surely it was easier just to get. Surely you could have just gone for more resources.
Yeah, I mean, I did just on that one thing, because of course, whenever anything like this, you always have smart asses like us say, "Oh, you could have just done this." But I did remember, I can't think of who it was. It was one of the comic book writers, I think, because obviously this was taken directly from Thanos' arc from the comics.
Yeah.
And they said that, look, yeah, you could have done that, but in his mind, that would have just been delaying the problem. Like, okay, more resources, but then these people are just going to keep growing, they're just going to keep consuming, and these resources, it's going to get more, it's going to get more. Now, the argument is, of course, you wipe out half of everything, then eventually you're going to have this problem again as well, because eventually they will get back to that number they were before. But yeah, it's it was always one of the things they did or hinted at in the next phase with Marvel and some of the TV shows was that people were graffitiing Thanos was right.
Yeah.
And I always loved that. I always thought to myself, one, I could really see that happening in the world. Like I could really imagine there being some people who'd say that and think that.
Oh God, yeah. You know there would be, yeah.
Yeah, and two, I just thought that was a real interesting element that they were introducing. That there could be a real groundswell, a real kind of movement of people who were kind of fed up with the way the world was, the way the world worked, and I mean, it never went anywhere, like so many things in the newer phases. But
And there was the people like we had in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We saw the people that were really put out by the fact that these people had come back.
Yeah, they were called the Flag Smashers.
That was it. We're like 4 years into a loving relationship, and all of a sudden her ex-husband reappears. Well, her actual husband reappears because, you know.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, what do I do now?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, it was intriguing. I don't think they did enough of that. I don't think they did enough of looking at the human element of, because every time they touched on it, I liked it. I was like, I can't even begin to imagine how messed up that would be.
Oh,
like,
definitely.
you know, you're living in your home, you've moved on, you've kind of like finally accepted they're never coming back, and then bang, they're back.
Yeah. Oh, hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you remember Steve, our neighbour, you know. Yeah, he's now giving it to me. Way.
Yeah, we now get on really well.
And what was really interesting about that as well is, of course, Yelena showed us that to them who went, it felt instant. Do you remember? It's like there was.
Yeah,
that
she
scene with
literally was
Yelena.
like in the mirror, gone and back. Yeah.
Yeah, and that again would be so difficult to comprehend, wouldn't it? Like, what the hell's gone on in the 10 seconds I was gone? No, you've been gone 4 or 5 years. That's So going back to the concept of what if kind of thing, I think generally it'd be like decision making for certain things. Like you said about, you know, like Iron Man, he had the whole kind of what would happen, you know, because he stood up like, I am Iron Man. What if he decided to try and keep his identity secret? That could have been a fun sort of thing.
Yeah, that would have worked.
You know, Steve Rogers went into the ice but didn't come out, but his shield, etc. Did someone else try and take on the mantle? You know, the super soldier serum. What if, you know, Bruce Banner actually did it and became a super soldier, not the Hulk? That could be hilarious. Because he's a nerdy scientist, and all of a sudden he's going to be like strong like Steve Rogers. So yeah, so there's a lot you could do with that. But I think with the idea with this concept for the show is to try and take this concept to other mediums. Because I think probably for certain fans there is a clamouring for this concept to be used for them. And the one I see most, like, and I mean really see the most with scenarios, is Star Wars.
Yes.
And
There is so much in that universe.
Yeah, there people really, really would love to see a what if Star Wars version of, to see if certain decisions went different ways.
It's like every time you watch the prequel trilogy, you're in the back of your head, you're always like, go on, Anakin, make the right decision.
Make a different decision, yeah. And
make the right decision this time.
I always think to myself just how good that film is, Episode 3, because no matter how many times I've seen it, I do still feel that way.
Yeah.
I know he's not. Like,
this time you're not going to go to the dark side. You're going to turn good. Yeah.
And the first time I watched it, I had that feeling, even though I knew what was going to happen. I knew Anakin
you know who he is, right?
Yeah, exactly. So you're kind of like watching it like, well, I know it's not going to go this way, but they managed to blur it enough and make you just hope. And then he started killing younglings, and you're like, maybe not. Then.
No, there he goes.
Just like sunflowers. With Star Wars, I think the biggest one and the obvious one is, what if Anakin makes a different decision? So I always like the kind of meme of, you know, Mace Windu It's got the Emperor down. The Emperor's struggling. He's calling to Anakin, like, save me. And Mace Windu's like, ignore him, Anakin. He's evil. And Anakin says, hey, if I help you kill the Emperor, can I marry someone and have kids, even though I'm a Jedi? And Mace Windu says, that's very specific, but okay. Yeah. And then Anakin just, like, cuts the Emperor's head off. And there's, like, looking at him, and he's like, hey, what are you doing?
I like the idea of that conversation being like, look, let's just talk about this.
Yeah, I just like the idea of Mace Windu being like, that is ridiculously specific, Anakin, but okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying she is a senator or anything, but if there was one that I liked...
Yeah. So I think the obvious what if would be, what if Anakin didn't fall to the dark side? Anakin takes out the Emperor, the Jedi continue in charge. What would that look like for life for Luke and Leia? Because although that concept of him saying that to Mace Windu's funny, it wouldn't have happened. Like, Mace Windu, etc., were of a mindset with the Jedi that, no, you can't have that attachment, love, no, God, no. So he would have had to have kept hiding it. Like, there was no way he could have just been like, oh, and by the way, I'm a dad. It would have been a nightmare.
Surprise.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Like the whole idea of that, like, you could tell an interesting story of what would happen there going forward. I think there's other things in Star Wars as well. Like, I mean, the whole concept of Anakin being the chosen one. What if Qui-Gon just ignored him? Qui-Gon was just like, nope, little slave boy, you can stay here. We've got the parts we need.
You little slave boy.
Yeah, we got the parts we need. We're off. And so therefore Anakin never became the chosen one. What, if you think about that going forward, so Qui-Gon then would face Darth Maul with Obi-Wan again. Let's say Qui-Gon is killed in that instance, but then Obi-Wan doesn't train Anakin. So does that mean you've got a scenario where the Emperor is looking for someone else? Is he then just going to keep Darth Tyrannus, aka Count Dooku? Do you see what I mean? It's like, that could be interesting as well. Like, he basically grabbed Anakin because he could sense his power and made Anakin kill Count Dooku to take his place.
Yep.
Yeah, I always remember that. Because, again, what if Count Dooku had told Anakin the truth in that moment? No, stop. He's trying to get you to kill me because I'm his apprentice. He's the Sith Lord. What? Yeah, he's a Sith Lord. Don't listen to him. He's behind all of this, Anakin. Do it.
And the other side of it is what if actually Dooku wins that fight?
Well, yeah, I mean, Anakin's killed, Dooku, struts his stuff. I think the thing in Star Wars is Anakin was the chosen one. And so I don't think he's losing that fight. But of course he did lose to him before. In the Attack of the Clones, he lost the fight to him.
Yep.
But obviously wasn't killed. Dooku was just kind of toying with him. But then by the time they fought in Revenge of the Sith, he was a bit of a badass, old Anakin. Yeah, I mean, it's like, there's a lot of scenarios in that. Also, if you go back to some of the Clone Wars stuff, you could have a field day with, like, what if different scenarios. And I mean, one that I'd love would be Obi-Wan in Satine. What if Obi-Wan left the Jedi Order to get married to the Princess of Mandalore? And then Mandalore's attacked by, has the insurrection from Maul. So you've got Darth Maul facing off against Obi-Wan again. Do you see what I mean? Like, that whole scenario would be incredible.
Yep. That'd be awesome.
I'm fairly confident Obi would still win. But yeah, so there you go. I mean, there's a lot there that you could do. Can you think of another famous franchise that you'd like to sort of run a what if over?
So Star Wars. Yeah, Star Wars is the obvious.
Yeah.
I I mean, you can always joke around about a previous podcast. What if Indiana Jones, wasn't even in the movie?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
apparently it wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else. So yeah, Marvel, Star Wars.
I mean, there's a famous wizarding franchise, but we're talking about that next week.
Oh, you're giving away that surprise.
Surprise.
Yeah, that's very true. What if Voldemort had just used a gun instead of a wand to kill Harry's parents?
Well, yes.
That would have stopped the jump up little prick taking over 7 books, wouldn't it?
Wow, that was a sentence.
Well, I mean, if we're doing the Harry Potter stuff, what if Dumbledore didn't try and sacrifice an 11-year-old? That'd be the first book changed. I'm guessing you mean more, what if Harry... Oh, there's a lot of things. Oh, God, there's so many things in the Harry Potters that could have changed.
Yeah.
What if Harry Potter met Voldemort and went, yeah, do you know what? Actually, me and you, mate, it's good work.
Me and you, mate. Yeah.
The Dark Potter series.
I mean, that would be pretty dark. Just killing all the Weasleys because they're ginger.
Just because they're ginger. Wow. Yeah, fair point. What about... Oh, I mean, looking at even the superhero stuff, the Batman and the Superman stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you went to DC then, so obviously the DCU has had a reboot. James Gunn, who made Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, is now in charge of DC and has started his own cinematic universe over there with his first film, which is Superman. Now, that film is universally loved, it appears. Like, critics love it, fans have loved it. It's done brilliantly at the box office, which has been rare for DC especially,
for
and
a long
now
time
Marvel
now,
as well. I gotta be honest with you, not one trailer or anything that I've seen has made me want to watch it. Now, I don't know whether that's because I'm not as much of a comic book fan as people enjoying this. Like, it feels, from the bits I've seen, the trailers, just so many characters. Like, it feels like it's a big mess.
Yeah, see, I haven't seen the movie yet, and I'm very similar to you. I've seen the trailers. I've seen the trailers on telly. I've seen the trailers in the cinema. And each time I've watched it, I've just kind of gone, not really for me.
Yeah, and I don't know, like, I'm sure at some point I will watch it and hopefully I enjoy it, because the actor seems a genuinely good guy, a massive Star Wars nerd, which is kind of fun. And I just, and the actress playing Lois Lane I really like. I've always really liked her. So yeah, it's kind of a strange one, like, because I had watched all of the Zack Snyder things. I didn't enjoy most of them. I thought it was a bit kind of, this is a bit naff. And it felt kind of like MCU but done badly, which is my best way of explaining it. Like Justice League and stuff like that, and also the amount of cuts and edits that they put in before they release certain versions just didn't make sense. I didn't think Ben Affleck made a very good Batman. I'll tell you where there were certain things in every DC film that took me out. And there was Batman versus Superman. The premise behind that is you got this billionaire tech genius who's worried that this alien, if he decided to go bad, could do whatever he wants and no one can stop him. So Batman has the idea that he's going to find a way of stopping him, and that way he'll always be able to keep him in check. That's the basic premise. They then fight practically to the death until they realise their mums had the same name. And then they become besties in 10 seconds.
The problem I've got is I've not seen the movie.
You never watched Batman
I
versus
never
Superman.
saw it. I stopped watching DC.
Yeah.
I started watching Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Because it's got Gabbett in it, who is just wow. So I thought, yep, that's worth a try.
Yeah.
I turned it off when she did this incredible leap to start climbing up a building.
Yeah.
And they couldn't even be bothered to sort out the way her hair would be if she was climbing up a freaking building.
Oh, dude, that's
like, it was a real little detail, but for me, I was just like, if you don't care enough to make, like, it's not realistic, she's this Amazonian woman that's just leapt over a ravine and is climbing up the side of a castle or wherever, a cliff or wherever it was. I understand, with all these superhero movies, you have to kind of, suspend your belief a bit.
Yeah.
But I wasn't massively into what was going on anyway. And then I was literally just sat there watching this going, she's climbing up a building, yet her skirt and hair are still falling forwards because she's clearly crawling along a floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm out. Fuck this. I never went back to DC. I've not seen the Aquaman. I've not seen Green Lantern. I've not seen Justice League. I've not seen a Batman film since Christian Bale.
Yeah.
I've just come away from the whole lot. I'm like, no, do you know what? If you guys can't be bothered to try and make a good movie, I can't be bothered to waste 3 hours watching it.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people, for different reasons, I think a lot of people had that attitude. But when it comes to the relaunch under James Gunn, I know at some point, give that film a try when it's on free somewhere.
Yeah.
But it's not one I was going to go out to watch. Like I said, because the trailer just didn't do anything for me. But I know loads of people were so hyped by the trailer because the dog's in it and because there's these robots, Kryptonian, and I'm like, it just feels too much. It feels like messy. Like there's loads of characters in it. There's a Green Lantern that it just feels overloaded. But yeah, we shall see on all that and I'll watch it at some point. But
so there's a fun one. What if Superman did turn bad?
I was going to say, that is a scenario and that is an interesting one because Zack Snyder in his Justice League did have that concept for about 10 minutes of the film. And he was kind of unstoppable. You had Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, you had Batman all trying to stop him together and failing. And so, that is an interesting concept. I'll tell you that the last DC film I watched, and possibly this is why I've not watched another one, was Black Adam.
Never saw that.
Didn't mind that film. As a character I didn't know, but was so went into it kind of, tell me a story kind of thing. The end of that film is this character who's so OP, so powerful in Black Adam, basically calling out, like, okay, who can you possibly send at me on this planet who can, compete with me, sort of thing.
Yep.
And he gets told, well, we'll call someone who's not from this planet, and then Henry Cavill's Superman shows up. And you're kind of like, oh, shit, okay, that's quite a confrontation, that's interesting. Yeah. Now, obviously, that's never happened, never going to go anywhere because Warner Brothers handed DC Studios over to James Gunn like a week or two after that film came out, and he scrapped all of it.
Yeah, he literally's gone back from square one, hasn't he?
He has, yeah, he's literally just kicked it. The one thing he's doing, and I will say this is kind of impressive, is he's doing one film a year. So Superman came out this year, Supergirl comes out next year, and following year is the Superman sequel. So he's not messing around. He is creating the content to build it forward and going through one film a year, a big summer blockbuster kind of style. That is something which I feel that the MCU did really well. Then they went to 2 films a year, then they went to 3 films a year, and you're kind of like, yeesh, yeah, it feels like...
I wonder if where he was part of that, he's kind of looked at that and gone, yeah.
Well, it'd be interesting because there's a lots of other DC projects announced, and like Clayface film, like I've never even heard of that character.
I saw that mentioned somewhere, and I was like, what on earth? I thought it was one of these kind of AI gone wrong sort of things. I was like, who the heck is that?
No. So there are other films being made. They've not been announced when they're coming out yet. So I am curious if perhaps he's gonna move it to like 2 a year, or. But I would be, if I was him, I would be cautious of going bigger than that, because I did feel that the MCU really struggled then, because to keep on top of all of those projects happening all the time, I think is where they fell down, and they kind of trusted directors who, of course, were all basically doing their own little thing.
Yeah.
James Gunn being one of them, by the way. But you know,
well, of course, yeah, he was the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff, wasn't he?
You know, he was protecting his own thing there. But yeah, like I said, there's a lot kind of. Yeah, I'll tell you the James Gunn thing, which I found really interesting, because I saw or heard rather an interview with him recently.
Go on.
He didn't. You know how at the end of whatever film it was, Thor joined the Guardians.
Yeah.
Big joke, kind of funny, as Guardians of the Galaxy. Oh, of course you're the captain, ha ha ha. You know, all that kind of stuff was hilarious. James Gunn hated it. Didn't want him anywhere near his film, anywhere near the Guardians.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No one consulted him on it. They just did it, and because they all thought that'd be a good match, and that's why he was basically taken away from it the minute he possibly could.
Oh.
Yeah. As soon as James Gunn had control again, Thor was gone.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of, and if you think about it, when you go back to it, it was a weird kind of like, who the fuck is this weirdo hanging around with us? Go away. Way they got rid of him. It was it really was a kind of middle finger to whoever's idea that was, because he didn't want it. So yeah, but I think that goes to show the problem that the MCU started having, which is they handed over control to a certain extent to the individual franchises, the different directors, and they kind of gave up the continuity aspect of it. And that's where everything's kind of come unstuck. But yeah, DC, like you just said, there's a lot of what if scenarios. What if Superman just woke up one day and was like, do you know what, I'm so fed up of trying to help these people, I'm just going to take charge. I do think there is a comic book arc with that already. So you've kind of got the scenario laid out there that you can do.
Like you say, he would just be able to destroy everything and everyone.
Yeah, he would. It'd take quite a phenomenal amount to take him down. You know, you could do a complete flip, like Zod in that lot arriving to try and save her from him, which would be, because there's plenty of things that happen in his life that, you know, like he's been adopted by this nice family. What if when he landed he wasn't adopted by a nice family? What if they were assholes? What if they like beat him as a kid, and then all of a sudden one day he went to hit him back and realised he literally knocked their head off?
Yeah, holy crap, I'm powerful.
Do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
your upbringing makes a massive difference, and the whole reason why Clark Kent Superman is humble and wants to help people is because of the wonderful parents he had on Earth. If they were not nice people, yeah, you could easily, you know, what if Superman landed and was next to a load of meth addicts, you know? Just like hey, Clark, honey, Mama needs drugs.
Became Stoner Man.
Yeah. So there's a certain aspect to it that you can have some fun
Batman's the
with
same.
that.
What if Batman decided that actually he was gonna go out and be bad?
Again, you look at his actual origin story, there is a real reason why he could grow up and be a real prick.
Yeah.
Like, he's an orphan,
definitely.
His parents were killed. The whole concept of Batman was always interesting to me because he didn't kill. The idea was he didn't kill. And there is a famous, again, comic book run, which I think was where Ben Affleck based his character, which is where he finally went over the line and did kill somebody, and therefore became like this jaded, like struggling version. which I don't think they ever really implicitly did a lot with, which made it difficult. But again, you could look at that and just be like, rather than him, okay, I'm going to beat up the bad guys, take them to jail, but actually just be like, no, do you know what? They murder people on the streets, they murder my parents, they just die. So goes full on, Punisher, basically, but dressed as a bat,
it'd be the other way around, wouldn't it?
But the other thing, another what if scenario for that is, what if his parents aren't killed? So Bruce Wayne gets to grow up as this kind of pampered, rich boy in a city like Gotham that is just being riddled with crime. What if he then has this scenario when he's older where he's mugged or something, and he decides, I need to learn how to take care of myself, and then his Batman persona grows from that incident. But that's a very different character though, isn't it? That's a very different kind of, his parents are still alive, so he's hiding it from them as well. Alfred's not his guardian completely, so would he trust Alfred to be like his confidant?
Alfred would literally just be nothing more than the butler.
Yeah. So that, that could be a fun, interesting concept. I don't think you can do a lot with Wonder Woman other than maybe like, what if the Amazonians were super aggressive and went on a conquest?
Yeah.
I'd let them conquer me, I'm not going to lie. So that's, there isn't a great deal. Aquaman's a weird character. Like, I felt Jason Momoa did a lot with that when there isn't a lot there, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like, okay, so in the oceans, he can speak to the fish, he can bring the fish are his friends, but you're on a beach and you're like killing someone, he's just basically bobbing in the water going, oh no, stop, I'll throw fish at you,
I'll throw a starfish at you.
Yeah, but you remember the Family Guy thing.
Yeah.
But in this, it kind of really very strong, very capable on land, in sea. So his version of the character made a lot more sense to me. And also he kind of legitimized it, his look, his kind of Maori, Hawaiian heritage kind of feel to it. Timur Morrison, the guy who played Boba Fett, is in there as his dad in the film, and it all just seemed to work really well for me.
I almost saw that. Saying about not seeing DC films, I almost saw that at the cinema.
Almost.
But I was on a date, and unfortunately, she chose to go see the animated Grinch instead.
Oh.
Didn't get a second date. What if she had chosen the better film? There you go.
Well, it's an argument of whether it would have been the better film as well. But they did two films, and I honestly think you would have face palmed at the plot issues in both.
Yeah.
The second film was kind of wrecked because Amber Heard was one of the lead characters in the first film and his love interest. So in the second film, they had all these issues where Amber Heard had gone to court and had been found guilty of basically creating domestic abuse herself and creating a lot of lies and things. And having her in the film would have made the film about as popular as a cock-flavoured lollipop. So they cut her scenes down.
Yes.
And the film, you can really tell. Like, there's like, early on, she's like, oh no, she's been hurt. She's in a coma now? Oh, okay.
Oh, it's one of those.
And then, like, right at the very end of the film, she, like, reappears and saves him. And you're like, that was so part of the original. Like, it's so, like, her just randomly appearing. Like, oh, so she wasn't that hurt. She's out of the coma and she's able to kick ass. Almost like she's been fine this whole time, but was cut from the majority of the film. How strange.
How very weird.
Yeah, so, yeah, it was a bit like that. I mean, what if, a different actress had played that character? A bit of recasting. There's a what if, but...
Yeah.
What if scenarios with that? There's probably plenty there, but again, there was just such strange films. So the Wonder Woman film was kind of funny because the Wonder Woman film, I quite enjoyed it. It was set around World War One, but then the second film was awful. Like the second film, there was like a concept around time and all sorts, and it just didn't work. Which is just a funny thing with the DC at the time. It was like, oh, we've done well there. People liked it. Brilliant. Quick, make another one fast. Oh, should we spend some time writing it? Nah, put any shit together. It'll be fine. Do you know what I mean? It's just like how it felt. It just, none of it ever really clicked. But yeah, I mean, I think that's DC. I mean, I'll tell you another thing which I kind of like is a concept is like with villains. So like we were talking about like, oh, Thanos possibly changing his mind and stuff like that. Some of the villains in DC I think are some of the best. And like Batman, like the Joker, I think is one of the greatest villains in anything. So, you know, what if the Joker wins? What if the Joker kills Batman, kills Robin, has free reign? I love that concept, but from the point of view of Heath Ledger's Joker, I think nailed it. I think as a live action performance, no one has nailed that character better. Because there's this moment where he's like, you want to kill me? He's like, I don't want to kill you. Like, you complete me. What would I do without you? And I think that attitude, like if he won, I think he'd just be a mess. And I think, and as a concept, like what if the Joker won? And it's just kind of like, well, I mean, I could just mess with the police today, but that's dull. Like no one's gonna find me. No one's gonna chase me. Like I just go rob a bank, and I've done that a few times. It's boring.
Yeah, what can I actually do? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of, yeah. I'll tell you what, another what if scenario which could work for any comic book, and that's swapping villains with heroes. So what if the Joker was the villain to Superman? What if Lex Luthor was the villain to Batman? That's two billionaires going head to head. Do you see what I mean?
That could be quite fun.
That's quite a fun concept. You could have some fun with that, because I think the Joker Superman would just be amazing. Because like Superman again wouldn't want to kill; he'd want to, you know, take him and put him in jail, sort of thing, because he's a good guy. But the Joker would push him, wouldn't he? Like the Joker would just, like he did to Batman, just push and push and push. Like Lois Lane. It's so interesting. I think that could be fascinating. I think
because he is twisted.
Oh, massively.
And I wonder how well Superman would have actually dealt with that kind of manipulation.
I think he would have killed him. I think he would have lasered his head and then had to deal with it. I think he would push him that far. Yeah, so it's interesting. It's like
just hit him out of pure rage and then being like, what have I done?
Yeah. In the MCU,
yeah,
can you think of kind of low-level villains assigned to people? Like in the first Iron Man film, Obadiah's kind of his villain to him in that.
Yeah.
Cap obviously has the Red Skull.
Yes.
So you could do Red Skull versus Iron Man or something like that.
The Mandarin was meant to be a massive baddie, but I think they kind of fumbled him a bit.
Yeah, I mean, they did. I mean, they kind of corrected it with Shang-Chi, which, by the way, out of all the later films, I love. I loved that film. I thought the choreographed martial arts and stuff was sensational.
Very good fight scenes.
Really liked the character. Like, the actor did such an amazing job of just... He was so down to earth, but was a complete badass.
And
do you know
has
what I mean?
Not been seen again since. Like, there's not even mention of it. It's just disappeared.
Yeah, well... There's supposed to be another one of those films, but it's just been caught up forever. Yeah. But yeah, so you could, like, the real Mandarin, you know, you could swap that around with a few. Red Skull versus Iron Man could be kind of fun. Yeah, I mean, there's a few. There's a few different things there that you could swap around to be a bit of a laugh. But
I think you can have some fun with it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that as a concept for what if would work. I mean, other franchises. I mean, the other big franchise in sci-fi is obviously Star Trek. Are you much of a Star Trek fan? I don't know if I've ever asked you that.
I am not. I must be honest, I'm not a huge Star Trek. I watched a bit of it as a kid because
it was on.
my dad used to love.
The Next
What
Generation?
was it he used to watch? Deep Space Nine, I think he watched a bit of.
Yeah.
And who was the cyborg lady?
Cyborg?
I'm sure she was a cyborg.
Not in Deep Space Nine.
No, in one of the other Star Treks.
I mean, there was a droid who was a man in the Next Generation.
Data? No, not him.
Data, yeah.
Right, wait there. I'm off to Google.
Oh, Voyager 7 of 9.
That's it. That's what you used to watch. He used to watch that.
Yeah. I mean, they were good shows. I mean, it's interesting because there's always this feeling of like, if you're a Star Wars fan, you don't like Star Trek, and if you're a Star Trek fan, you don't like the other. And I've always liked both.
If you're a Star Wars fan, you don't like anything, really.
Or anyone, and you're not allowed to talk. But yeah, I've always liked both. I always see them as very different. Like, Star Trek is our real world, but projected into the future with a kind of real hope. Like, there's a real kind of like, in the future, there is no war on Earth, there's no famine, there's no this, we are out exploring the galaxy for the betterment of all of humanity and all this kind of stuff. It's like quite a hopeful version of the future, which I like. Unfortunately, I don't know how realistic it is. If you want to go for where I feel the most realistic version of the future is, go to a TV show called The Expanse, which is, that I feel not only in terms of the realism they brought to the physics of space travel and space combat, but also just where I think the world would actually be. Unfortunately.
That's worrying.
Yeah. I mean, it's a brilliant show. Great series of books. I mean, I think that's it. I mean, I think we'll wrap there because I think the what if scenarios are so niche. I think, like I said, the probably the best concept I've had while we've been talking is the swapping the villains and the heroes. I mean, another one which they did do this in the comics is, of course, Marvel versus DC. They have done crossovers in the past.
Yes.
So the idea of characters going up against each other. One of the things that always made me laugh is that they clearly ripped each other off in comic book characters. Like,
oh, definitely.
Horrifically. Yeah. Punisher, Peacemaker, basically the same bloody character.
Batman, Iron Man.
Billionaires who, come up with these concepts to go and fight crime. Parents killed.
Is it Adam Warlock is basically Superman?
No, that's Sentry, I think.
Sentry, sorry, that's it.
With the big S and everything.
Is from Thunderbolts. That is just Superman.
It's just a big S gives it away.
Yeah.
You've got so many. I mean, my favourite ones were always like, in DC, there's this character with his swords, and it was something like Quaid Wilson, and so Deadpool is Wade Wilson.
Oh,
like,
wow.
I can't remember it exactly. I can't remember, it was Deathstroke or something like that. But
Deathstroke, yeah.
I just can't remember his real name. But it's something like Quaid, I know it is.
Let's have a little look. That's a Deathstroke. Let's have a quick. Deathstroke is a supervillain, yes, we know. His children, Rose Wilson.
Oh, wow. Oh, Wilson.
That's it. Slade Joseph Wilson.
Yeah. So,
a
Slade
mercenary,
Wilson.
A former US Army operator.
Yeah, well, who does that sound like? Yeah.
It even looks like him, for Christ's sake.
Like I said, they've ripped each other off to the point that you could have quite a fun what if these versions fought each other.
Can you imagine they walk into each other like, hey, wait.
Yeah, you look very familiar. Yeah, like looking in a mirror. But anyway, that is our show for this week. Thank you so much to everybody for listening. Thank you so much to everybody for constantly getting in touch and letting us know what you think about all these different subjects we're talking about. We hope you're enjoying it and having fun. Next week is going to be discussing the Harry Potter franchise in all of its glory, from the books to the films to the upcoming TV series, and obviously the spin-offs with Fantastic Beasts. So that's our show next week. Hopefully you'll join us for that. Until then, everybody, you all take care, and I'm going to leave you with Stefan with his final thought.
If you rip a hole in a net, are you adding holes or taking holes away?
Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Thangs podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online. Simply search the Stuff and Thangs podcast to join in our conversation every week.